There's a moment when something hits close to home. You nod, you stay calm, you say very little, and emotionally you disappear. People these days call that being nonchalant. Psychologically, it's something entirely different. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lem Usita. If you're new here, this is a space where we talk about identity, formation, and leadership, because how you regulate yourself under pressure shapes the kind of relationships and environments you create. Today, we're starting a three-part series on what's often praised as being nonchalant, not from a trend perspective, but from a psychological and formative perspective. Because what looks like emotional maturity on the surface is often a very specific kind of disengagement underneath. This all started when I saw a reel and they used the word nonchalant in this reel to kind of mean, well, I am just emotionally strong and mature. But when I looked at it, I was like, that's not what the word nonchalant meant. And then I looked at it further and I investigated further and I found that they're just using the word nonchalant to mean this emotionally mature. But when I saw the actions and when I saw the video, I was like, that's not emotional maturity. And so that's why I wanted to do a series on what this idea really means. So if people describe you as calm, steady, or unbothered, but distant when things get personal, this is what this episode's about. Let's name what's actually happening. Principle 1, nonchalance is usually emotional regulation, not emotional absence. Most people who appear nonchalant are not detached from emotion, they're containing it. This is affect regulation, managing internal intensity by minimizing outward expression. It's often learned early in environments where emotional expression felt unsafe, unproductive, or costly. So calm becomes competence, silence becomes control, but regulation without presence becomes disconnection. Principle 2, disengagement is often triggered by perceived threat. Nonchalance doesn't usually appear randomly. It shows up right after something feels personal, feedback, disappointment, conflict, anything that subtly threatens identity, competence, or worth. Rather than processing that discomfort, the system moves toward distance. If I disengage, this can't define me. That move protects the self, but it also avoids the moment. Principle 3, this pattern is reinforced by identity, not personality. This is not about being introverted or emotionally reserved. It's about identity preservation. When engagement feels like exposure, disengagement feels like strength. Over time, the self learns, I'm safer when I'm unaffected. But identity formed around emotional distance becomes fragile because it must keep avoiding contact to stay intact. Principle 4, cultural narratives reward emotional detachment. In many leadership, professional, and relational contexts, emotional restraint is praised. Be composed, don't react, stay above it. So nonchalance becomes performative. It signals competence and authority, even when it quietly erodes connection and trust. Especially in leadership, emotional absence is often misread as stability. Principle 5, chronic disengagement limits formation. Here's the long-term cost. Emotion that is not processed does not disappear. It goes underground, and over time, chronic disengagement narrows emotional range. It limits intimacy and restricts growth. You may feel regulated, but less alive, less connected, and less known. Formation requires engagement. You cannot mature around what you consistently avoid. So here's the reframe that matters. Emotional maturity is not being unbothered. It's the capacity to remain present without being overwhelmed. Regulation without presence becomes disconnection. Now, if this resonated, first, like, and subscribe. This channel is dedicated to identity, leadership, and formation at depth. Second, reflect on the question: where do I disengage emotionally, and what am I protecting? And finally, share this with someone who leads, parents, or mentors others, because disengagement doesn't stay personal, it shapes relationships. In the next episode, we'll talk about how this pattern is experienced by your partner and why the perception gap matters more than intent. I'll see you there. Thanks for checking it out. And don't forget, be unique, but belong. We'll see you next time.